Yeah, welcome everybody. This is a special episode of the Scene Surfers podcast. As you can hear, it's the first podcast, the first episode that we're doing in English. My name is Nikki. My partner in crime, Manu, is not here at the moment because he's sick. If you're watching this, I hope you get well soon. Today I'm interviewing the amazing Russ Rankin from Good Riddance and Only Crime. First of all, Russ, thank you for being here.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, right now you're touring Europe with your second solo record, Come Together, Fall Apart. How was the recording process for your album, and was it significantly different than the recording of your first album, Farewell Catalonia?
Yeah, it was definitely different. It was a lot of songs in a short amount of time. I think we did everything in 2 weeks, 16 or 17 songs. And so it was a lot of work, but also it was different from the first album in that I sort of had more of an idea of what I was doing. Like when I went to record Farewell Catalonia, I went to my friend Paul Miner's studio, and he'd never done a solo album either. So neither of us really had any experience. We just kind of like tried things, and we came up with a formula that ended up sounding pretty cool. But I was really still new to acoustic guitar and learning how to play properly, and it was still a fun experience. Like we had a good time, and I think that album sounds great considering. But I definitely have learned some things since then, and so was a little more prepared, I think, as far as going into this, knowing what I wanted as far as other instrumentation and kind of how to get the sounds that I wanted, how to get the songs done the way that I wanted. And then also working with Bill, because I've worked with him for so many years on Good Riddance and Only Crime stuff. So he and I think the same things a lot, and so he had good notes. I recorded demos and put them in a Dropbox folder for him to listen to, and he would send me notes, and so I showed up pretty prepared, as prepared as I could be. So I think that it was a combination of me and Bill working together, and also the other guys at the blasting room, but also just the experience of the first album.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think it sounds great.
Thank you.
Are you happy with the feedback you're receiving for the new record, or are you trying to ignore what the critics are saying because people are allowed to have their opinions and stuff?
I haven't really heard anything bad about it. The feedback I have gotten has been positive. And apparently the cover art looks like a Bad Religion album, which I kind of, I guess I should have known since I'm a fan of that band.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing that sort of caught me off guard, was people saying that.
There's always like a little thing that you haven't thought of.
Yeah. But other than that, as far as like reviews that I've read, have been fairly positive.
All right, that's good. Let's hope that it stays this way. I mean, now that the critics have told you about the cover incident.
Well, there's really nothing you can do, right? So if you're if I'm putting something out there, like I have to be able to have thick enough skin to take it if people have bad things to say about it. If I didn't want to hear any bad information, I wouldn't do it.
Exactly. Okay. In an interview with the New Scene, it's a podcast, you said that Stefan Beham, also known as SBÄM, inspired you to make this second solo record. The question is, how and where did you and Stefan originally meet? What's the story?
I probably met him years ago and just don't remember it. But I know him from his label and from during the pandemic doing the SBÄM Fest, like
the online streaming.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
And then we stayed in touch more after that, and I think he's the one that planted the idea of another album in my head. I wasn't thinking about one before that.
Did you just hit you up on per email and just say?
Yeah, he emailed me. He emailed me. Yeah, he said that he was really complimentary about my songwriting and my singing.
Yeah.
And who doesn't like to hear that? So.
Yeah.
And then he, obviously I know of his label, and I know that he's got a good reputation, and
he works with everybody.
The label is growing, and it seemed like a good opportunity. And he was persistent about it, and so I agreed to do it. And then I figured I better write some songs, so I did.
Awesome. Yeah, his label is very cool. I play in a small local band, and we also last year had the amazing opportunity to release an album on SBÄM Records. And It was kind of the same. He said, we asked him for a cover artwork, and he was like, let's send some songs or demos first. And then he liked it, and we were like super stoked about it. So yeah, shout outs, Stefan, if you're seeing this, keep on going. Yeah, I saw that you're very active on social media platforms, like Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok. Also, your music is available on every popular streaming service. What do you think about these newer ways of communication? And do you feel the algorithm because it's just necessary nowadays, or do you have actually fun doing it?
I think it's necessary. I mean, it's nothing is necessary, but I think that if I want to reach people and keep people current with what's going on, that's the way that it's done now. I tend to post things that I guess are controversial, and so there's a lot of really nasty stuff on my social media. Like people commenting, and it makes me wonder how those people found me and why they follow me.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Like I can do it's all right. Like it's almost better, because if I'm just saying something about something that I believe in to people who feel exactly the same way I do, I don't know that accomplishes anything.
Yeah, exactly.
But if there's the introduction of maybe a controversial or a novel idea to somebody who hadn't thought about it before, their initial response may be negative, and it may stay that way. But eventually, they may also think about it, and like I'm only the way that I am because of ideas were presented to me that I hadn't thought about or believed that I was resistant to. Yeah. Until I gave it some more thought. So you never know. Yeah, put it out there, and like I just don't engage with people. I don't get into like
commenting.
No, I just don't. I'm not going to do it. So
that's totally understandable.
If people think that I'm an idiot or they don't like what I have to say, like they can say something back, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, give them the recognition of answering.
I have a lot of trolls, I guess.
Yeah, which nowadays also is kind of a sign of, I don't know, of people are interested in what you're saying. Like, you wouldn't get.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, there's the trolls that are actually humans that are typing what they think, and then there's trolls who are like bots and stuff.
I think most of mine are actual people that just hate me. Think I'm stupid.
They just
That's
they
okay.
just like to hate.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. Also that you're doing this, and also that you're doing it like on platforms like TikTok. From every person I know, they don't want to get into that because it seems too complicated, or like it's I don't know how about that, and I don't know how to present myself in these ways. So
well, I don't either, but I do it anyway.
Yeah, you just have to do it, man. Figuring it out as you go, like fake it till you make it.
It's like it's fun. It's just fun. It's just stuff to do.
Yeah, awesome. This is a podcast about music, and what music have you been listening to lately? Are you rather interested in newly released music, or do you tend to listen to like the classics of punk and hardcore?
Both. Like today on the way here, my driver and we listened to the new Psychedelic Furs album. Well, new 2020, but it's their first new music in a long time, and so really love that. And what else? There's a band from Spain, from Catalonia, that I really like, called Every Night, and I just recently got into them. And there's a band from Scotland called The Twilight Sad that I really like. I'm pretty open to stuff, but I do tend to stick to classics, and also like music from the 80s that when I was in high school that I at the time that I hated. I didn't like it. Like bands like The Cure and The Smiths and Depeche Mode, and now I like it. Right? Now I like it, and I don't know whether I've just kind of softened as time has gone on, or if I like it because it reminds me of a time when I had less responsibilities and stuff like that.
I think the music that you're listening to at a certain point in your life, like you can't control that it sticks to you; it just happens.
I think also people gravitate later as we get older. We gravitate towards music that reminds us of like a simpler time.
Definitely,
maybe.
Yeah.
So that's probably what's happening to me.
Awesome, thank you. Do you have any advice for young musicians and bands who are just starting out and maybe get intimidated by the hard work that is involved in getting people to check out their music? Do you have anything?
I don't have anything encouraging to say. I feel like there's so many bands, and now with the technology that exists, it's easier for if I'm starting a band right now with my friends, it's easier for me because I can use my computer to record everything. Yes. It's easier for me to create music. It's easy for me to put it out there, but it's going out there into a sea of other people who are doing the exact same thing. And so, and with the technology that exists, we can all sound perfect.
Yes. Yes.
And so I think it's a little bit tough. I can't even imagine how daunting it must be right now in this moment to be doing that. My band, we were operating in a simpler time, and we were also fortunate. We were working really hard, and we got noticed by a label that was just about to become really big. So our timing was good. So I would always just tell people, like, if you love playing music, just play it because you love it. And then there's a saying in English that luck is the residue of hard work. So that if you, and also I think that not holding on to some kind of outcome, like not saying, well, we have to reach this or this or this. Like, set a goal for yourself, do the work, but let the outcome take care of itself. Because it may not be what you thought you wanted, but it may be just the right thing.
Definitely, yeah. If you're doing it only for like Spotify streams or YouTube hits or whatever, then it's maybe the wrong approach.
I think if it was me, I would be setting myself up for disappointment or just to never being satisfied. Yeah,
that's good advice. And there, you can't repeat this often enough. I think, like, you just have to. If you don't like doing it, then you destroy yourself by waiting on like the big breakthrough or whatever. So on this podcast we have a small segment which is called the Equipment Corner, and where we talk about gear and stuff. The question is, what kind of guitar do you play on your solo tour? And do you care about like the right equipment, or do you just play whatever lays around?
I mean, I bought this guitar probably about 10 years ago. It's a Taylor acoustic guitar, but I don't know anything about anything like that. And then on this tour, 2 different airlines have lost my guitar.
Damn.
So I've had promoters find guitars for me to play for shows.
Yeah. And did you tell them like get me
I was like just no, anything that like I have to play the show tonight and I don't have a guitar, so like find me whatever.
Yeah.
So one guy had a buddy that had a guitar that I played, and then in Cologne, and then in Utrecht, in the Netherlands, the promoter rented a guitar for me, but I don't remember the brand. But I wasn't that concerned about it. I was
as soon as there's
just need to play a show. Yeah.
I think that's a good approach to it. If you're getting too, I like equipment and gear and stuff and the things you can do with it. But if it gets in the way of playing and actually doing the music, it's kind of.
I mean, someday I may actually become a guitar player, and then I might care more. But currently, that's not happening.
Yeah, as long as it works.
As long as it works, yeah.
All right, we have another segment which we've never done on this show, but for you, we thought it would be cool to spice things up, and it's called Hockey Questions with Mike Decrags. That's a friend of mine. Since I don't know anything about hockey, and you're a hockey scout, I asked him if he could give me like some questions that I can ask you, which are a little bit more fun to answer than me going like, what's the rules of the game?
Okay.
He plays in a band called the D-Cracks. They have toured with CJ Ramon in Europe. Maybe you've heard of them. He writes, first question, hockey is the greatest sport ever. How did you come to love it, and how did you end up as a scout?
I think my introduction to hockey occurred during the 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid, New York.
It's been a while.
And that was, obviously I was very young, but I loved the speed and the color and the violence. And in those ways, it's kind of like punk and hardcore music. But
yeah, I get that.
That was when the United States Olympic team beat the Soviet Union. It was called the Miracle on Ice, because it was like at that time, players from the Soviet Union or Eastern Europe were not allowed to play in the National Hockey League. So they couldn't play in North America.
Okay.
So they played for the best Russian players played on the Red Army team.
Okay.
And they were basically pros. They were like grown men, the best in the world, and they just destroyed everybody. every international tournament they won gold. It was like, and the United States, it was all amateur then, so it was college kids, much younger.
Damn.
And before the Olympics started, they played an exhibition game in New York City, and the Soviets beat us 10-2 right before the Olympics started.
Yeah.
So the Olympics started, and nobody really thought anything of it, and like everyone's going to be watching the speed skating or the skiing or the whatever else. And then suddenly the United States team began to win some games and in their pool and got some attention. And they had these they were like these young kids, and they had these great personalities. And then they played the Soviet Union again and won.
Awesome.
And nobody could believe it.
Yeah, that was the miracle.
Yeah, the Miracle on Ice. Now they still had to beat Finland to win gold. So that game against the Soviet Union wasn't the
Finals.
gold medal game,
yeah.
But they ended up winning gold.
Awesome.
By beating Finland in the next game. But it's the underdog sort of setup with here's these kids, they've just got creamed by this team a week ago. These guys are like the best in the world. They're older, they're more professional, they're better players, and to have that happen, but also during that time in history, the geopolitical ramifications with the Cold War going on, like it was like from a movie. Like you couldn't have written a better script.
I can only imagine.
And so that was and it was a time when there was American hostages being held in Iran. Inflation was really bad. There was long lines at gas stations.
Yeah.
Like America just wasn't was going through a period where people weren't feeling really good about it, and like everybody sort of like latched onto this hockey team. as some source of like, not really pride, but like some source of like happiness about the United States. Something positive and uplifting was finally happening for us, and so that was my introduction to hockey. And then I became a scout just happenstance. Like I loved the game. Ever since then I would learn about it and watch it whenever I could, and I became a student of it and became a nerd about it. And I happened to have a friend who played in the National Hockey League who was also a Good Riddance fan, and he and I became friends, and he was part owner of a junior hockey team in Western Canada, in the Western Hockey League, which is a major junior. Mm-hmm. And California players were starting to get the attention of that league around the mid-2000s, like 2006, 2007. And so he talked to his general manager, said, hey, I got a buddy that lives in California. He could go look at some players, and that was that. So that was like
I got a guy.
Yeah, he said, I know somebody who I vouch for, like he knows what he's talking about. And so that worked out. Yeah, that was my introduction to that.
When you tour Europe, do you go to like local hockey games and check out interesting players on day offs?
I've been to I've been to games on tour in Europe probably only one time, and it was in Austria, but I don't remember. This was a long time ago. I mean, I wouldn't scout anybody over here anyway. Like my area is California only. But I would love to go to games. Like if I had the time and I was in some city in Europe and there was a game going on in that town and I could go, I would definitely go.
Yeah, I can hook you up with some recommendations for hockey teams. Like I don't know shit, but my friend knows a lot, so he is definitely more than happy to get you settled on the situation in Austria. Yeah, the last hockey question. How is your relationship with, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, Scott Niedermayer, and when do you think he will be inducted into the Hall of Fame? And also, you should play at his induction, by the way. That's what Mike.
He already is in the Hall of Fame. He was already inducted.
Okay.
Yeah. That happened a little while ago.
Nice.
He invited me to go, but I was on tour and I couldn't go. Yeah, we're still friends. We keep in touch. Yeah, he works for the Anaheim Ducks and the management side.
Awesome.
Yeah, really good guy.
Thanks so much for your time. That was it. The new solo record of Russ Rankin, Come Together, Fall Apart, is out now. It's available everywhere, and you can get the vinyl at the SBÄM shop. Shoutouts again. Check it out if you haven't already. And yeah, thanks again so much for your time. If you have anything to say for the listeners and viewers.
Thanks for all the support through all the years with my bands and people buying the solo stuff. Thank you. Appreciate it. Vielen Dank.
Awesome.